Hello and welcome back to International Journeyman, where we are now in charge of the USA. Just the men's football team, I should clarify. I don't think a semi-final appearance at the Asian Cup qualifies me for the nuclear codes. But yes, our time with Australia has come to an end. We obviously failed to win the Asian Cup, so we will need to return one day. But the thing about this game is you can literally go on forever, and in this save, I think we'll need it. But the opportunity to manage this exciting generation of US soccer stars was too good to turn down. They are hosting the forthcoming edition of the Gold Cup next summer, and as the two-time defending champions, it presents a good opportunity to claim the first of our needed trophies, or more likely the chance for yet more horrible failure. The Australian FA thank us for our time in charge and say they understand our desire to get into international management. No idea what I was already doing, but yes, time for a new challenge. From one nation where football is barely the fourth most popular sport to another. This USA side are ranked equal 13th in the world, a significant improvement on Australia. Despite the aforementioned Gold Cup win, the recent performance as an invited team at the Copa America isn't exactly amazing, with defeats to Ecuador and Peru leading to a group stage exit. The American FA stress immediately that their principal concern is that we show sufficient pride in the fact that we are hosting the Gold Cup. Okay, sure, but my principal concern is winning it. We are of course also co-hosting the next World Cup, so with no qualification campaign we have a raft of friendlies before the Gold Cup in this summer. A good chance to try out some players and get them used to the tactic. Off the bat I am able to persuade former Wolves midfielder Jack Price to represent us, a solid DM option. I tried to persuade Jack Harrison as well, but he is still holding out hope for an England call-up. I did actually think that we were in the Olympics, but we weren't. France go and win the gold medal, and yes, that is Australia with the bronze. Just give Tony the top job really. They went with Hervé Renard instead. I'll go through the squad properly when we get to the Gold Cup, but it's safe to say this team actually has real options. There are several players, especially in forward areas, who I didn't want to leave out of my first squad, but had to. There's plenty of exciting players here. We have Guatemala in our first match in charge, which should be an easy win, and yeah, I don't like the part where we go behind minutes in, but a brace from Josh Sargent and a fine header from Giovanni Reina help us to a debut win. Our second friendly is a far more assured 4-1 win over Honduras. I can see I'm going to like Reina a lot. Also, we have Carles Gil in this side, by the way. The former Villa man had already defected from Spain when I arrived. A Christian Pulisic hat-trick helps us cruise past South Korea. We then grab a late 2-1 win over Qatar. 4 in a row to start us off. No clean sheets in any of them though. We cap off the year by annihilating New Zealand 7-2. Josh Sargent gets a double hat-trick. Yeah, we're doing okay. After Ivory Coast win the 2025 African Cup of Nations, we face Cameroon in our only March friendly. And as is obviously our custom, we come from behind to win 2-1. It's been a wonderful start really, no complaints. So obviously we go and lose our final warm-up game to Paraguay 1-0 in June. Great, just great preparation there boys. Way to destroy my optimism. Hopefully we're just getting the defeat out of the way, because I want to win the Gold Cup. We need to at least reach the final, as that is the USFA's minimum expectation. Here's the squad. Goalkeeper is a bit of a concern. Zach Steffen is probably the best, but he's been quite poor. Matt Turner just doesn't play any club matches, and nor does Gabriel Solonia, who is just extremely average. I really like Anthony Robinson at left back though, with George Bello backing him up. And we have two excellent right backs in Serginho Dest and Dortmund's Joe Scally. Plenty of solid centre backs too. I've gone with Chris Richards, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Anton Trusty and Walker Zimmerman, but it's a tough call. Midfield is also stacked. Tyler Adams, Yunus Musa, Weston McKennie, Jack Price, Alan Sonora and the crown jewel Giovanni Reina. Christian Pulisic is obviously here too, with the other wide options being Carles Gil, Alejandro Zendejas, and last minute call up over Paul Arriola, Timothy Weah. Josh Sargent has just bagged 12 goals for Southampton in the Premier League. Jordan Sabachu has 14 in the Bundesliga, a strong blend of youth and experience from Europe's top 4 leagues and the MLS. Will it be enough to win? Now, on paper, our group should be straightforward. French Guiana, followed by Suriname and then Honduras. For the opener with French Guiana, I go with what I feel is our strongest lineup. Stefan in goal, Robinson, Richards, Carter Vickers and Dest in defence, Adams, Musa and Rayner in midfield. McKennie is great, but I just feel this is more balanced. Pulisic, Gill and Sargent form the attack. Obviously, this tournament is taking place over a month after the end of the European season, which of course means all of our European-based players are not remotely match fit. It'd probably be better if they actually were able to do any training here, but why on earth would they let us do that? Anyway, 12 minutes in, Adams wins the ball, starting a ridiculously slick move, which sees Musa slot home an opener. We then win a penalty, which Sargent misses, but we win another one shortly afterwards, and Gill's effort creeps in this time. French Guiana offer nothing, and in the second half we secure the victory as first Dest and then minutes later Pulisic each unleash absolute bangers into the top corner. 4-0 is all we need for a brilliant, totally controlled opening victory. Suriname beat Honduras, so a decent victory against them would pretty much secure us top spot in the group. With the fixture schedule as it is, I think this is a sensible opportunity to rotate the team. We need to balance protecting fitness with increasing match sharpness. Sabachu has an early effort saved well, before McKennie gives the ball away and then Suriname come forwards and score. Yay! Great to see the full rotation instantly going well. But we always do this, so we press on and Sabachu is bundled over in the box. He gets up and sends the keeper the wrong way to draw us level. Our search for a winner is frustrating though, as we dominate but see McKennie hit the woodwork, and then in the second half Zendejas' cross is headed there by Weir as well. I sub on some of the first 11 to rescue us, and in injury time Robinson and Rayner set away Weir to play a pinpoint cross in for Sabachu to head in a late winner. 2-1, we get away with it. Not vintage, but given the fact we've been able to rest, who cares? We qualify with a game to spare, and only a big goal difference swing would deny us top spot. We do lose George Bello to an injury though, as he breaks his arm. I restore the original lineup against Honduras to hopefully give us momentum into the knockouts, and indeed we get a 3-1 win, Sargent's first of the tournament, plus Pulisic and Musa again. Oh, and we hit the woodwork 6 times, but a 100% record sees us through in style. Jamaica are the only major casualty of the group stage, with all the other major contenders safely through. We get Trinidad and Tobago in the quarterfinals. This sport might not be America's favourite, but apparently over 92,000 people are turning up for the game. Let's not screw this up. If we could break our conceding an early goal habit, that would be good going forwards. I feel like I should perhaps start Sabachu, but he's a great option off the bench against tiring defences if we need it, so we stick with the same lineup. An early goal would be nice, and 5 minutes in, Musa flings it forwards to Pulisic, who sends a low cross in for Sargent to smash home, 1-0. And then 4 minutes later, Dest beats his man on the right to cross in for an unmarked Rayner to nod in for 2. This essentially kills the game as a contest extremely early, and we proceed to waste numerous chances to add to our lead. Eventually, after the hour mark, Gill crosses for Pulisic to make it 3. We obviously can't keep a clean sheet though, although there wasn't much chance of stopping that. As processional a knockout game as you could hope for really. Canada see off Suriname, while Costa Rica need penalties to beat Panama, and Mexico beat Haiti. We will face Costa Rica for a place in the final. I still don't 100% trust all parts of this team to deliver, but they have mostly all literally been here before, so hopefully we can. No changes to the team here. Fitness is holding up surprisingly well. Let's go. Keylor Navas has retired and been replaced by a barely younger 36-year-old Esteban, so hopefully that helps. They are set up very defensively and it's all hands to the pump early on to stop Gill's effort. They offer little even on the counter, and eventually their defence is breached by Moose's beautiful pass, allowing Gill to slot into the corner. 1-0 is always nervy though, and nothing else happens until the 74th minute, where a rare Costa Rica foray forwards is shut down, and then Pulisic goes for a run down the left, has a shot instead of crossing it, but luckily it bounces off the keeper and Sargent basically trips over it into the net. 2-0, job done. We see it out to win with an actual clean sheet. A 33-year-old Joel Campbell isn't the threat he used to be. We are into our first final, which should be enough to avoid the sack, but it would be easier for everything if we could just win it and get this one ticked off. Mexico beat Canada, so we'll have the toughest possible opposition if we're going to do it. They're higher ranked than us, they're the favourites. I obviously turned down the chance to manage them to take this job. Please, please, don't make me regret it. I believe we can do it. I hope we can do it. No changes to the team that's got us here. Let's get it done. There are plenty of threats in this Mexican side, although Lozano is only on the bench. I imagine the capacity Rose Bowl crowd will be pretty evenly split. My only major concerns are our defence. Attacking wise we've been pretty good, so I think if we can go 2 goals up we'll be okay. From kickoff on an absolutely massive looking pitch, we come forwards and a lightning move sees Pulisic cross for Sargent to head us into a ridiculously early lead. Surely too early if anything. Minutes later we bear down on a shell-shocked Mexican defence again, Dest sending Sargent away to make it 2. It's 4 minutes in and we're 2-0 up. Mexico are beyond rattled. We give them a brief respite, but not long before the break, Pulisic again finds Sargent, who completes a first half hat-trick. 3-0. I really didn't see this coming. We have scored all of our shots on target. In the second half, Stefan actually makes a save from Jimenez to prevent any sort of Mexican fight back, and then we wrap up the humiliation as Dest gives it to the captain to seal it. 4-0. With no real danger at all. We win our first final and we win our first piece of silverware needed for the challenge in complete style. What a performance from the lads. It's not exactly unexpected, but we weren't the favourites going into it and we've blown them away in front of our own fans. The American FA are ecstatic at the win, which is great, although obviously my eye is on the next job now, with the Gold Cup ticked off and North America done. Sargent claims best player and Stefan best goalkeeper, while we get 6 out of 11 for the team of the tournament. I would single out Yunus Musa as our best performer. He was absolutely outstanding in midfield, but the whole team did amazingly. So there we are. Not bad really. Just the 7 other things left to win. There's no other jobs we can get right now, and I think it would be a shame to miss out on taking this USA team to their home World Cup, so unless something turns up unexpectedly, I'll see you next time for that. Could we actually win it? Nah, that would be ridiculous.